What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Iron Maiden, and we're going back to their first album with Bruce as lead singer, The Number of the Beast. Internationally famous and infamous, I would argue. My understanding is that both in the UK and in the US and elsewhere, a number of radio stations just refused to play their songs, and certainly the title track, but my understanding is they were viewed as like symbolic of like the sort of decadence and decay of like popular music by more sort of stuffy and revanchist forces. But thank goodness they still were very popular and sold so many records because it just allowed the band to continue down the path that we now know and I have come to love in the last few years. Admittedly, I mentioned it before in my earlier Iron Maiden reactions. I've been listening to them very intensely for like the last 4 or 5 years. Well, actually, like the last 5 or 6. It was like 2016. I had a conversation with an old friend of mine, and he just kind of, was telling me like, oh, you've talked about how you heard that one Iron Maiden song, whatchamacallit, Hallowed Be Thy Name, and he was like, oh, well, a lot of their songs are about literature and history, and they have like, allegories, and they, have entire concept albums like Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, where it's like this larger tapestry of a story, and he just really intrigued my brain, so I went on the deep dive, and I've absolutely loved it. Now, again, I focused on the albums that are Bruce Dickinson fronted, so I don't have the earlier couple studio albums, and I think one live album before he joined, and I don't have the songs from the latter half of the 90s when he wasn't there. But yeah, I really do enjoy Iron Maiden's sound. I love their lyrics. They're just creative. They're musical geniuses, tempo shifts, time signature changes, and so on. And just the precision of their not only playing but the writing musically and lyrically. So yeah, I'm just a huge fan of this band. Haven't been reacting to them as much recently, but it's partially because I've been trying to grow other playlists on the channel. I'm trying to do a number of things on the channel, not only sort of traditional or normal music, but also I do a lot of DJ mixes of electronic music of different styles. So yeah, we're going to listen to a tune called Invaders, which is the very first song on the first Bruce Dickinson album. I believe this is 82, right, 1982. And I remember when I first heard it, I thought it was a little more general, that it was just talking about that, throughout pretty much all eras of human history, there have been military invasions of other places, and the sort of taking over or the conquering of peoples, and the way that, weapons and so on have changed the course of human history through people, riding upstream in boats and so on. But that led me to realize that, oh wait, I think they're actually specifically talking about Vikings, or Norsemen as they were originally called, although obviously over time Scandinavian raiding expeditions were conducted by people not just from modern day Norway, but also from Denmark and Iceland and elsewhere. So yes, Vikings is a very broad label. I actually am very friendly with a historian. I was friends with her in grad school, and she specializes in Viking history, and through her work I came to see that the use of the term Viking, it's a bit of an overbroad label, and there are, specific ways that you could talk about these different expeditions, and, sort of the Danelaw in England, when Danish Vikings took over part of England for a while, and, all sorts of different layers to Viking history. But yeah, as far as I know, we are talking about Viking invasions in this one. And yeah, it is the first tune, as I said, on their 1982 album, The Number of the Beast. So let's get to it. This is Invaders. And I do remember, just before I start, that the sonics of the tune, they're very fast and aggressive. They have a rip-roaring sound, which again, I love starting this album with that style. Look, I imagine a lot of people will know that a lot of their songs from this era just really have this rip-roaring badassery to them, but they also, even back then, had songs with sort of very kind of atmospheric and a bit austere intros. But I do like starting this album and this song with a very energetic, let's get right to it sort of feel. So that's what I remember. Let me know if you have a different take, but here we go. This is Iron Maiden Invaders from the 82 album Number of the Beast, or The Number of the Beast. How can you just not tap your foot and nod your head? And
imagine people who are already Iron Maiden fans. First track on the new album, you hear this voice, and you're like, oh my god. Sing it, Bruce. Again, the syncopation, the stagnating rhythms, their musical precision is great. Shred their shoulders. All that I was saying about their musical skill and tempo shifting and so on, like Ivan. Overpowered by the victims of the mighty Norsemen. Or overpowered, we are the victims of the mighty Norsemen.
Standing out at the end there. Love it. As I said, when I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to go do this deep dive on Iron Maiden, and I'm going to start with the first Bruce album and just go through all of the Bruce albums up to the present date, which I have now done, including Senjutsu. I've reacted to a few songs from that, as well as at least one song from every other Bruce album. And from several of the albums, at least a few of the songs. But yeah, I remember when I did that deep dive and I, just put on The Number of the Beast, just started first track, I was like, oh my god, this journey isn't going to be incredible. Like, this tune was enough to convince me that, this was a wise decision to go down this path. So shout out to my friend, but also, shout out to their songs, like really living up to the reputation that my friend had conveyed to me. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like this one. Let me know if you got more to say about the lyrics. Again, like, my understanding was a bit more of like a rough sketch, and then it kind of evolved into a more specific one, which is funny because like they actually do say Norsemen in the song. But again, at first I was thinking that was like one example of this larger idea of invaders, which again, no matter what millennia you're talking, no matter what century you're talking, no matter what part of the world you're talking, there are unfortunately all sorts of examples of brutal invasions, and those which forever after altered the areas where these invasions took place, as well as other places that weren't even directly invaded, but because of what happens, it changes dynamics and trade and so on. So yeah, let me know what you think of the song. Let me know if you have more to say about the lyrics. Other than that, thank you for listening and watching. I'll see you next time.